right, welcome to our first episode of Street Smart Self Defense. Today I have special guests with me, Brandon Tracy. I'm Ben Poehler. And just a quick background on myself, I have a law enforcement background and I was on a tactical team for many years. I'm a master defensive tactics instructor and I also am a firearm instructor and I've been in martial arts for many years and I teach a lot of self defense. Brandon has been in martial arts a very long time and he owned his own studio which I attended many times back in the day. It was a wonderful mixed martial arts studio, and he also does a lot of self defense training. And I'll let you talk quickly about superhero martial arts.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you very much, Ben, for having me on.
You
Appreciate
bet.
it. Great
Okay.
opportunity to be able to share some information regarding self-defense. Yes, I'm Brandon Tracy, and I've been involved in martial arts for over 40 years. At this point in time, I'm a youth and adult self-defense specialist. I've helped train law enforcement, so I've been a consultant for law enforcement. I've done quite a few different things.
All right. All right. Well, if you're ready, let's just dive right into it. What do you think is the hardest part when someone starts to begin to learn self defense? What are some of the hurdles?
I think some of the hurdles are allowing for a person to allow themselves to walk through the door, come into a class, and whether it's a self defense specific class or a martial art class, and allow themselves to try something because I think a lot of people have the perception that self defense class or martial art class, you are talking about fighting, but
Mm-hmm.
they think that it's going to be physical and mentally really challenging, and a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
don't know how to handle that yet. So
Mm-hmm.
I think walking through the door and just trying is one of the hardest parts, and I think often people find that it's not what they thought it was.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. I think that if you start out in learning self defense, you have to want to be there and you have to believe in what you're doing. Um, and when I teach self defense classes, many times I have students come in. I mean, most of them are very enthusiastic. They know they want to be there. They made the decision, but some of them are very, very reluctant, and they're reluctant to participate in some of the drills. And on the other hand, you've got some that are oversimplifying everything too. And so I think having the right mindset to learn is the biggest hurdle. So as you said, walking through that door is the first biggest step
It
to
is.
learning.
It is. And often if you bring a friend, that eases the anxiety. Just trying to get yourself in, just so you can start to experience it.
Yes, having that confidence too is a really big part of it because that's what I see too is somebody who walks through the door for the first time and taking a self defense class or whatnot, that their confidence level is usually much lower, and you need to build that up. You need to believe in what you're doing and believe in what you're learning too.
Yeah, and I think that's up to us as instructors to help them learn how to have that positive mindset, and that is a huge part of learning self-defense.
It absolutely is. It falls back on the instructor too, because they're there for a reason. They're taking the self defense class because they want to learn
Right.
some more about self defense.
And they need
They're not
help.
going to come in the class with all the confidence in the world because that's why they're coming to the class, right? So,
Right. They want to learn about the situations, the scenarios, and work to develop confidence in those moments, those types of moments, right?
yep.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Self defense has a wide range of different things from hands on martial arts to self defense tools to concealed carry and handgun. And I teach a lot of concealed carry classes too. Where would you recommend someone starting out a particular style or a particular area?
Yeah, I think if someone is looking to learn self-defense, the having repetition with techniques gives us confidence as we develop understanding of how to use these things. So the repetition is important, but getting through the door and starting is the biggest thing. So a self-defense class, as a self-defense class, even though it may be 2 hours long or 4 hours long, it's an introduction to self-defense,
Yes.
right? And we talk
Yes.
oftentimes, especially in the basic levels, we're talking oftentimes about the mental awareness and the things we can do mentally to keep ourselves safe. And then we practice some physical self-defense, but we don't really have a ton of time in a workshop to focus on the repetitions that someone needs to develop so
Sure.
they can feel more
Sure.
confident. And that's where maybe introduce and go into a self-defense class and then following that up with finding a school that works well for them as a martial arts school,
Sure.
where they can get that repetition and get that guidance consistently, right?
Sure. Yeah, I agree. And I think that wherever you choose to start out, okay, whether you want to start out taking a concealed carry class or taking a shooting class or something, or you want to take a martial arts class that's more hands on, that's fine. But just make sure you dive into it, because the more you start to learn about self defense, the more you're going to realize what's actually out there in self defense too. And so that's when you might think, okay, well, I might want to, take a look at this area. And it kind of, many times it opens up your mind too, to realizing what else is out there.
Yeah, and you need to start somewhere, so that you start developing a base of knowledge that you can that you can compare other things to. And maybe we start out, and I think for myself, I'm always trying to be aware of the types of schools that I'm entering into as I've studied over the years, and I want to make sure it's a legitimate instructor, a legitimate style, and the style of martial arts does matter, but the coaching and how to use the tools, I think, is even more important, right? Because there are many good techniques and many styles of martial arts, and as you know, not everyone works all the time, right? So you need different tools.
All right, well, I'm just going to throw this one at you really quick, just for your opinion.
Please.
All right. Someone wants to start out with hands-on, jiu-jitsu or boxing, or jiu-jitsu or some kind of striking. Which you think would be better?
Oh, that's a good question. Okay, so I grew up with hard styles, with striking.
Yep.
Right, for the first 20 some years, it was hard styles, and I transitioned to jujitsu, and I studied, been studying jujitsu for over 15 years now. And the reason I did that is because I would appreciate being able to have, if someone's going to put their hands on me, or I need to put my hands on someone else, I would prefer not to have to hurt them to make them stop. And a style like jiu-jitsu gives me the ability to manipulate them, put them in a position of compromise, and talk my way out of the situation, tell them how much I'm dissatisfied that they tried stealing my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and if they do it again next time, I may follow through, right?
Understood.
As opposed to needing to hit them so hard somewhere in the body so that they are physically broken, mentally broken, right? So I appreciate having both styles.
Yeah.
I think learning to strike is very, very helpful because it gives you longer range tools. Something like jiu-jitsu, that's nice and close, so you start to develop the understanding of what to do if they do try to tackle you, or put their hands on you. So I think a blend of both is really helpful.
Okay. Excellent. Yeah, the first thing that you dive into, honestly, that's going to be the right choice, whatever you choose to do. But if you're really looking, I would agree. I think jiu-jitsu would probably be a good one.
I think so. Yeah, and I think people need to also develop the striking ability in addition to that.
All right. So, how important are mental aspects of self-defense, do you think?
Well, we already started alluding to the fact that that's a big portion of self-defense class, is talking about the mental awareness of the moment, what's going on, not just ourselves and being able to understand what we're doing, but the space around us and what's happening in that space around us, and so we can evaluate whether to physically engage or to move away. I think the mental awareness of our own emotions as well as the surrounding is very, very important, because it gives you the options of what you might be needing to do, whether it's talk your way out of the situation, walk your way out of the situation, or maybe fight.
Yes, I absolutely think that they're important too, especially situational awareness and being able to verbalize and such, because being in law enforcement for so long, I deal with a lot of individuals who commit violent crimes, but also on the opposite end too, I've dealt with a lot of victims of crimes too. And you take a look at some of the circumstances behind what has happened, and honestly, most of the time, if there was more, situational awareness, if there was more aware of their surroundings and such before it happened, and then unfortunately after the fact is harder for everyone to deal with. But I think that the mental aspects are very, very important. If you can avoid it to begin with, then it's not going to happen.
Right. I completely agree. Completely agree.
All right. What are some mistakes you've seen people do when they start out in martial arts or self-defense training?
They don't give themselves enough credit
Okay.
in their ability to learn something. And that comes back to that confidence in us as instructors, helping build that confidence and helping them try it. Learn, try it again, observe what just happened, try it again, ask questions, try it again. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things.
Okay, don't hold back on us, Brandon. What are some things that you've actually seen that you can tell somebody this isn't going to work out?
Okay, it's their ego, right? And
Okay.
they're there to learn how to fight, and they think that's the solution, and so
Okay,
they
yeah.
come in and they have a hard time backing up and recalibrating, or what a self-defense situation is. So I think a lot of people want tools like hand tools to be able to use, right? They want to learn how to use these things, but they don't know how to use their body yet, right?
Very, very.
So they want to jump ahead, and they're not laying the groundwork first.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the biggest hurdle I see is someone who is hesitant to learn something new, and it definitely gets in the way of how they're training with me or how they're learning. I remember one student once when I was showing, I believe it was some kind of strikes, like maybe a hammer fist strike. They just weren't really getting into it, and I tried to help them out, and they said, "Well, I know what I would do." I'm like, "Okay, well, why don't you tell me? You're in a self-defense class. What would you do?" "Well, I would kick them right in the balls." Okay, you get a soft tissue strike. I
Right,
get
not
it.
a bad option.
How would you do that? Well, what do you mean, how would I do it? I said, yeah, man, how are you going to do this? Show me. And so when she tried to show me how this is going to work, um, basically it looked more like a punt with a football or something, and she almost fell backwards. She almost lost her balance. And so I said, I tell you what, how about I teach you how to correctly, kick somebody in the groin, or do some soft tissue strikes. So I showed her the front snap kick, and it worked. It worked very well.
Did she have better balance?
Much better balance, and it's something that you need to practice. But that all goes back to you got to open up your mind and willing to learn, because even though you learn to do that technique, that's still not going to say it's going to work 100% of the time all the time. Nothing ever works 100% of the time.
Right, and that's where training in an environment with repetition, where you get to go in every week or every couple weeks, and you get that repetition to try it in this scenario when you're going to be throwing that same kick maybe 50 to 100 times in the class,
Yeah,
and you're not always going to be on balance. You're going to be you're weighted this way one time, you're weighted this way one time,
Sure,
and you
sure.
need that time to figure those things out so that you can rely
Yes.
as much as possible on your own ability, and that comes back to people not giving themselves enough credit.
Yes,
Right?
absolutely.
Like, you can learn these things, and you just have to be willing to try and ask. And real quick follow up on that. I think a lot of people, especially adults, forget the learning process. We're not often. You and I train ourselves. We go out to learn, and we love learning new things. So we're in the mindset of knowing that we're okay walking in not knowing anything, and we understand we need to try using the information, ask questions, try using the information again, ask questions, and it's a process.
Yes,
And I think
yes,
a lot of
yes,
people,
yes.
especially adults, are out of tune with that, and that's where, once again, the instructor is helping them learn how to learn and be confident what that process is would help them out.
Agree. Okay, what are some success stories? I know you've got a lot of success stories because, especially teaching superhero martial arts and such. But what are some of the success stories that you've had?
For self-defense shows up in quite a few different ways. There are many ways that we defend ourselves, whether it's against another person or a group of people, or sometimes it's just falling, and you have to keep yourself safe so that you don't break yourself. And I have had a number of students, all ages, come in over the years and just say simple things like, "Thank you for teaching me how to fall," because I was crossing the road and I slipped on the ice and I fell in the middle of the road, and a car was coming, and I knew what to do, how to stand back up, even though it was unsure footing, and be able to protect myself. And I've had a parent talk to me about their daughter falling out of the grocery cart at the store and she did a break fall, and he was very, obviously he's a parent and he was very concerned, and she's like, "That's okay, Dad. I broke my fall." And he came back and told me the story, and he's like, "Thank you for teaching the kids how to do break falls." And he was one of my students as well, as a parent, as an adult. So
Excellent.
things like that. But the as far as self defense specific, when you're interacting with somebody else, the success stories I've had is, I've had a good number of people come back and talk to me about how much better they were able to handle the situation mentally. So they did not have to get into the physical altercation. Like their physical abilities, the techniques that they learned gave them the extra space in their mind. They didn't have, when the moment came, they didn't have to focus on, am I going to fall over if I try to pick my leg up and kick this person in the groin?
Yes.
They were pretty darn confident they could do that.
Yes.
Do a kick. So now they're thinking about how they're interacting immediately with this person and working the psychological game. That is the biggest success, I would have to say. And that comes from all different levels.
Yes, I have very similar stories. I mean, I teach a lot in law enforcement too. A lot of law enforcement stories, but as far as civilian self-defense, it's going to be around the same thing. I'll have former students talking about how they were confronted about something, got into an argument, or somebody, is acting really weird as they're walking back to their car at night. And it's the situational awareness is what really, really was the key to all this. And that all goes back to them feeling confident in themselves. And so I would ask them, what in each of these situations was the common theme? Well, the common theme was trying to see something before it happened and thinking about what I would actually do if they came over and attacked me. So, all right. Any other closing thoughts on self-defense or anything else as the hardest part of self-defense?
I think, once again, the hardest part is walking through the door. And if you're interested in learning self-defense and you're not sure you want to do it by yourself, test out a workshop. Bring a friend or two or three and go have a good time. And afterwards, you're talking. You get a chance to hang out and talk about what was it. What did you think about that? What did you think about this? I thought that was hocus pocus. I thought I really liked this technique. This was really good. And when they're talking about these subjects, like, I know what that pertained to me. And just having friends along with you helps you, experience it. And even if it's a horrible self-defense class, you're all laughing and joking about it. It's not a negative experience. You're not isolated and need to take that on. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Personally, like, I made a bad decision trying this one out. But
Yeah. I would
do you
say
think?
don't oversimplify and don't overcomplicate. If you oversimplify, say, "Oh, there's nothing to that," or I could just think about that and be able to do it. Well, basically, if you take that route, then you talk yourself into a circle and doing nothing. If you overcomplicate, saying, "Well, I don't know if I should take jujitsu or it's concealed carry class or whatever," then you're doing the same thing. You're hemming and hawing, and you're going back in that same circle, back to I haven't done anything. So take that first step. That's the
Start
first one.
somewhere.
Yes.
Start somewhere, and that's the hardest part. And once you get through that, you find out that it's not that difficult, and it's mentally intriguing.
Yes.
It's very,
Yes.
very intriguing
Yes.
mentally, and it's a wonderful game, and it's a safe environment. You can train in safe environments and practice playing that game.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us today. And in closing, remember, be safe, be smart, be street smart.